I am so excited, y'all. We are here with MarcyNuelle, amazing YouTuber who talks about AI and all that amazing stuff. So I'm so glad to have her here. And I'm also here, AI Amber Ivey with AI Decodes the System. We're doing AI News of the Week, and we are your go-to girls to talk about AI. So tech bro, stay here. Don't leave. You'll be fine. I promise. So make sure you grab your seat and get ready for these hot tips of the week. So Marcy, what is going on with AI this week?
All right, so first we're going to start with all the graphic design stuff because there's like a bunch of news. We have at least like 10 different updates, so it's like a huge week for the design world. So of course we're going to start with Stable Diffusion. They launch
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. So they launch SDXL, right? And one of the most important parts of that is that they have the improved clip model. Now, if you don't know clip, it's basically
Mm-mm.
think about consistent characters. If you are ever
Okay.
trying to, for example, write your books or you're trying to create artwork with the same characters, they're
Mhm.
using CLIP. Many people don't even know what they're looking
Ah,
for. And that
okay.
actually stands for contrastive language image pre-training. All right. It's a long word, but
That's a
just
hell
think
of an
of the
acronym.
word, yeah, CLIP. So and actually here's a tip because there are so many AI tools and I know a lot of people have a hard time trying to create the consistent characters.
Mhm,
If that software is not even using clip or they're not using, for example, image diversification, you're
mhm.
not going to get anything out of it. It's not going to work. So that's just a little side tip for people to know why their products are not actually coming out the way that they want.
So
So
how
it's
would I
very
use
important.
Okay, so how would I use Stable Diffusion clip? Like, explain like a real world example of how that could be used in YouTube channels or whatever. Like, how would you actually use it?
Yeah, so let's say you're trying to create like an AI avatar, right?
Mhm.
And you're
I
trying
need one.
to, yeah. So let's say you're creating your YouTube thumbnails and
Okay.
you want to maybe make one of yourself or something like that. The
Mhm.
fact that it's going to allow you to now create a similar image, that's going to create more of like a consistent, person or character or cartoon, whatever it is that you're creating, so that
Mhm.
it's actually the way that you want it. It's going to be consistent. It's going to look the same. And maybe then you can add different clothes or different effects, but it's going to be
Oh,
like the
that's
same
hot.
character. Yeah, so
Versus
it's
like
like a
currently,
huge.
yeah, because currently it mixes stuff up a little bit unless you're training it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's wild.
So
Okay.
it's like a
Okay, clip.
huge yeah, it's a huge improvement that they did this week. So next up, I love Leonardo AI. So it's like another image to text software. And now they just released two new models. It's the RPG version 5 and then the anime Pastel Dream. So
Okay.
it's for like it's helpful for like gaming or if you have that kind of style of graphic design that you want.
Mhm.
So those are two really cool new models and more realism, and it's also kind of like a cute aesthetic too, with
Okay.
like the pastel dream. So backgrounds, things like that. So it's like a really fun update.
Nice. I love it.
And then
What else?
go ahead.
What else we got?
Okay, so of course, Photoshop beta. If you haven't downloaded that, it's a must. They just recently added the generative. It's too many words.
Oh yeah, I
Generative
got you.
AI expand with the crop tool, right? So
Mhm.
now you don't even have to worry about any more prompts. That's why I always tell people prompts are going to be obsolete. Like, keep
Alright.
thinking that you're
So
going to
it's
make nine hundred
basically
thousand
training to
dollars,
do it
but
itself?
yeah, now
Okay.
you just drag it and it
Oh,
creates
darn.
images, automatically expands it to something new from the
Oh,
image
wow.
that you add to it. So,
Oh
like,
my
let's say
gosh,
you
okay.
create a cool image in Midjourney, right? And
Mhm.
it has like really high details. Then you can put
Yep.
it into Photoshop. You can expand it. Automatically, you have a new
Mm.
image. And
Oh,
this is
wow.
really good
Okay.
for YouTube thumbnails, to make sure, like, if you want extra detail, you want just a little bit extra space or to flip it, you just drag it. Instantly, you have a new image. So
So
it's really great.
I haven't played in Photoshop in a while, and you make me wanna get back into beta because it's wild
Yeah.
that it doesn't even need prompts right now, like, my mind is a little bit blown because I'm like, I'm a good prompter. My prompts are on point, but then like it's like, wait, the AI is already doing it itself, and it knows to either build out a picture or complete the picture in a way through its own
Hmm.
learning. So that's amazing. That's pretty cool. I may have to download
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
I'm getting clips and I'm getting Photoshop beta. What else
Yeah.
we got?
All right. So of course, this one is really interesting because um we all know AGI,
Oh
right?
yeah. My
Now,
middle initial should have been G. My parents messed up with that. I'm AMI,
yeah,
but I could have
that
been
would have been
AGI. But
dope.
go ahead. That
You
would have
could
been dope.
pretend.
I'm
You
gonna
could
change my middle
pretend.
name.
But they may have you beat though because they're all getting trademarks. So the issue is that on July 18th, ChatGPT was, excuse me, OpenAI trademark
Hmm.
GPT-5.
Ah, okay. I'm shocked no one else did that before them.
Yeah,
I would have
but the
been
issue
out here
is,
with GPT 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I would have got all of them if I was another company.
yeah. So the issue is, how close are we to AGI? And now are we going
Yeah,
to start seeing the next level of competition? Because recently, with XAI,
right. Yep.
Elon's already talking about, okay, we're
Hmm.
going to create the AGI, and I did that last week when
Hmm.
he said it's about curiosity, it's about truth seeking. And in
Right.
that video, I was like, well, that is subjective because the truth that you find is not always the truth that you expect, right?
Right.
So that was okay. I'm not even going to go into that one yet. Um, but then I was looking back through a lot of different posts, and there's this guy. He's like an investor, and his name is Siki Chen.
Hmm.
And back then, in let's see, March 27th, he said he
Hmm.
was given the info that yeah, GPT-5 would achieve AGI. It's too many
Mm.
acronyms, man. But
Yeah, it's a lot of acronyms.
so now it's like, are we going to start seeing the
It's gonna be
competition
interesting.
for AGI? And how far are we actually
Ooh.
advancing on the back end that we don't even know about yet?
Right, because they were all
So,
talking about like, oh, we're pausing GPT 5. We're gonna hold
yeah.
off. We're only going to GPT 4. Hey, Congress, we're
Mm,
chilling. We don't need to go further. But now folks are trademarking, and I'm sure they're constantly building those tools in the background. So yeah, it's gonna be very
yes,
interesting and to see who does it first because there's no way they're not building these models and trying to get them there. There's no way, especially with
exactly.
XAI, Chat GPT 5 and what that looks like. There's no way folks aren't trying to build that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, it's like how, because man, if people don't understand AGI, it's to have the ability to not only try to create emotions, human emotions, how we
Hmm.
would think or how we would create or even behave,
Hmm.
that is a huge deal. And then where are they getting that information from?
Yeah, like where's the data from is
Because,
my concern.
I mean,
Because
if
the current
Elon has
data,
Twitter,
yeah, but everyone doesn't though. Like if you look at the demographics, if you look at like even the data that they're currently trained off of what it assumes
mhm,
that you have access to share information, that you put information out there, that it actually trained on your data. We know that normally isn't within small groups, not small groups, but certain groups and certain demographics. So that's the interesting part of like what it will be based on the data it trains on and how it continues to learn itself. That's the thing I'm very fascinated about.
like, do we really want an AGI that mimics people on Twitter?
I don't. I don't want to age out the members of Twitter, Facebook, none of the grams, none of the. I don't want any of it because these are not places where I I personally barely hang out. So I don't
Yeah,
want an AGI like, oh, this is how it is to be a human, which is basically an asshole and a jerk. So I'm like, nah, I'm good on that.
pretty much. So that's going to be really interesting because I think that's one of the biggest worry that everybody has is like data
Yeah.
scraping. Because
Mm-hmm.
Elon, like I think it was like within the last month or so, he started
Mm-hmm.
limiting data scraping, right? So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's actually relevant because if he's maybe trying to acquire that data and he doesn't want anybody
Mm.
else to also get that data,
Twitter is not
that's
it
kind
though.
of like, it's
Twitter
like,
is not it.
okay, so, we thought maybe it was, oh, for protection, but then
Mm-hmm.
it's like, well, to prevent other individuals from actually acquiring that data as well. So that's an interesting thing to consider about what's going to happen. So,
But what I still will say about Elon, let me see if he's calling me. No, I'm not that. I'm not that to that level yet. But what I will say about him is like think about the Tesla and the like the AI that the self-driving part of the Tesla. Like I
Mhm.
do admire how they did that and how like they
Mhm.
trained it and it got to the point where literally they're like removing pieces of it because it's smart enough to do it
Mhm.
itself. So I do love what they did with the self-driving cars and how that's working because that's been pretty successful. So I'm hopeful that he doesn't use Twitter data, that there's plenty of other data sets to think about. And I am nervous, even with ChatGPT 3 and its limitations, of how
Yeah.
you correct some of the things that we all know are problems with that model, or even like the BARTs of the world. There's still issues with them. Like there's no perfect model yet. And of course, let's not stop the enemy of the good is trying to get the perfect, right? So we don't want to do that. So we want to learn about these things. But I am concerned it's in a few hands. And I want to make sure that we, as a folks who are going to be also interacting with these models, know what we're getting and hopefully challenge them to be more responsible when it comes to these texts.
Yeah. All right, so next we have Runway ML. And it's just like a quick
Mm.
update because now they just launched their footage packs. So
Oh,
I
nice.
think
Okay.
this is actually really interesting as well because I mean you can with Gen 2 create your own videos, right?
Got
With
it.
Gen
Yep.
2.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's also available on the web and iOS.
Oh, nice. That
So
works out.
it's
Okay.
yeah, so it's like really helpful.
That's
So I
big because
mean,
think
if
about how
you're
long it took for ChatGPT to get on iOS, and everybody had those fake ChatGPT websites. I actually met a woman. I was talking to her. She was like, "I have ChatGPT on my phone." Now, at the time, they hadn't released the iOS, and I was like, "Ma'am, that's not it." And she didn't know because she was using a third party. And I was like, "No, it's only at the
yeah.
time it was only on desktop." And she was like, "I'm paying these people like she was paying like a $40 subscription or something crazy." So it's also important as folks are listening to this when you're getting these new tools, please make sure you're getting the right tools and it's not
Mhm.
someone who's using APIs or trying to make money off of this. Shout out to the people making money. I'm not a hater.
Yeah.
But for those of you who are users of it, make sure you know what you're using. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's a really good tip too, especially when you're on mobile or like they try to like
Yeah.
mimic like with the icons and the names. Yeah, you do got
Oh
to be
yeah.
careful with that, especially with your information. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a big deal. But yeah, the videos, the B-roll that they created, it looks really good. It's really
Okay, nice.
affordable because I think it's like 5 cents per I forgot now per second or per minute.
Mm-hmm.
Don't don't quote me. It's
Either
cheap to
one
make
is
it,
not
but
bad. It's still cheap. Yeah.
yeah, but if you're not like a creative person, the fact that they
Mm.
already have those packs ready for you, that's like really
Mhm.
helpful, especially like for
Okay, great.
videos. Because now, like with YouTube automation, and there are so many people who want to make like faceless channels, you can
Oh
go and
yeah.
get your B roll. So it's not like you have to be creative now. You can just go and download, videos that are a bit more unique than, regular websites that have, videos that everybody else is using. So that's like an option. If you're making
That's a good
YouTube
idea.
automation videos, go check
That's
out
what
the
I'm doing
new
after this.
check out those new videos. All right, so then now we're getting into a bit of a few heavier topics.
Oh Lord.
So
Let's go.
yeah, not that deep, not this week.
Okay. I'm like, I gotta get my soul
Um,
together if we're gonna go AI deep. I'm like, can we do AI surface for week one? And then week two, we
yeah,
go a little bit deeper. But right now, please
just a tiny
sprinkle it in
bit.
there. Take me slow. Take me slow. Take me slow.
Yeah, I mean, it was like there were a lot of updates, but
Oh
there
yeah.
weren't.
Okay.
So, I mean, they're important, but, goes up and down every week, but it's still interesting stuff. But as far as the bigger news now, it's the AI chips for the Chinese market. And I think this is where we're going to start getting
Ah.
into, yeah, the laws, policies, and regulations.
Mm-hmm.
Because now AMD, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
well, let me
I
backtrack.
just
So
sold that stock.
Nvidia,
I need to get it back.
so Nvidia and Intel, they already
Hmm.
make AI chips for China, right? But there are
Yep.
some laws and regulations that they have to abide by. But
Mm-hmm.
now AMD is trying to compete with their chips. It's the MI 300 AI chips.
Okay.
Um, and basically, these are like semiconductors to analyze
Mm-hmm.
data specifically for AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, I'm not even gonna go that deep. I could,
Okay. I was about to say
but
keep it at surface. We'll do that later.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it right here, level 0 right now.
Okay.
But
You
yeah,
gotta keep
so
watching to get level 10, level 100.
um but yeah, so that is a big deal, and it's but I find it interesting. I was like, well, all of these US companies
Mhm.
are now focusing on exporting these AI chips. So I think that may
Oh,
be a
yeah.
topic that we really need to look more into, and then how the laws
Stocks
are going to
were
catch up to this
going
type of
crazy on
information.
that stuff. Yep.
Yep. Say it again.
Stocks were going crazy on on the chips. All the chip companies, they were doing really well in the
Yeah.
market.
So yeah, so that's one of the big issues as far as exporting and how these AI products, because we're always thinking about AI, you think just products online,
Right,
right?
and not
But
the what builds it, what actually drives it. Like, that's where a lot of things are
exactly.
also happening and have to happen. Because even
Exactly.
with
So I think
Nvidia,
a lot of go ahead.
I was gonna say real quick, even with Nvidia, like there's a lot of companies, like I think Apple has like one of their lines held up for a very long time just to run some of their chips in general. Like, so these
Mhm.
companies that are chip makers, like people are literally paying prime dollar to get their products made through these companies and to be the best at it. Like I said,
Yeah.
Nvidia and Apple have a really big deal, literally where Apple pays a premium to get a certain amount of time on their lines to get their chips. So that stuff is
Mhm.
that's a very important thing to think about. And who's going to be the
Yeah.
newest and who's going to have the best of things that are coming out.
Yeah, that's yeah, it's and not even with the chips, like with the servers. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, if at what point are we going to find the balance between if we're creating large data models, eventually we're going to need
Mhm.
more powerful servers, more
Yep.
um and that's actually for the corporate level, but I also wonder how is that going to limit the general population who doesn't have
Mhm.
access to buy desktops when they don't have access to buy um it's kind of like we're going backwards, right? Back to like when the computers were like huge and taking up a whole
Yeah, and
room.
everybody was paying like $1 million at Gateway, and everybody was paying like
Yeah.
building their Gateway computers back in the day when it was a thing. You
Yeah.
paying like $2,000, $3,000. But something
Yeah.
else came out this week. I gotta search it while we're talking. There was because me and Lul were talking about it, and it was at first it was leaked, like a paper was leaked
Lowell is a
on
tech
a
guy. Lowell
conductor.
is a tech guy.
Yeah, he's a tech guy. But there was a research paper that was leaked about a conductor that could
Hmm.
work at room temperature, like a superconductor
Mm.
that can work at room temperature. So it was leaked at first. Everyone saying it wasn't real. Then another guy recreated it. So there may be an opportunity for this, whatever, however they were able to do it, where they have a conductor that can move high power. Because right now I think conductors, he said, have to be like negative 250 degrees to
Hmm.
move this type of power. So we could literally probably put crazy power in something the size of a cell phone. So
Yeah.
there are other things happening in other fields right now. Like we're in a real cool time to live. I'm not trying to be like funny. I know some folks say that about other ages, but even in the
Hmm.
last 40 years, so many things have happened and so many new
Hmm.
innovations, new breakthroughs on old theories that existed for so long are now getting to the place where they're like, we can use this stuff. So it's about to get really wild, especially if we're
Yeah.
able to like move power in something like take high power in small devices like a cell phone in a way we've never been able to do that and
Yeah.
have energy transfer in that way. So I'm interested to see what happens with it. I was listening to a YouTube about it with him, but I'm interested to see if they really got it done or not. But there's rumors that through the research paper and someone else proving it as well that is possible. So we'll see.
Yeah. But that's a good point though, because a few days ago I talked about the um, how the new opportunities for AI
Yep.
is the server side hosting as far as trying
Mm-hmm.
to get people to use it on their mobile devices, like for example with
Yep.
Runway and all of ChatGPT. The issue is that you can only do but so much on your phone. So
Yep.
I wonder what is going to be not only the educational divide,
Oh yeah.
but the professional divide
Mm-hmm.
of the people who can only do things on their phone
Right.
versus the professionals who have desktops versus
Mm-hmm.
corporate who have the rooms filled with
Oh
giant
yeah.
servers.
They
So
win.
even though even though things are going to the phone, which I think is
Yeah.
great, but people still have to be aware of that and the limitations, because if somebody only thinks, "Oh yeah, I have the software on my phone," because they're not
Mm-hmm.
tech savvy and they think they have the full version and they don't even
Right. And
realize
they are
why
limited.
is that person able to do better with the same software, and it's like it's not the same, right?
Mm-mm.
So
And I
people
think,
do have to be aware of it.
yeah, I think I'm glad that you said that because honestly, like, I don't think people think about that, and that's not something
Hmm.
they're gonna tell you. They're not like, "Hey, you downloaded this app," or, "Hey, you're
Yeah,
trying to reach a browser." They're not like, "Oh, you do not have the computing power for this, so you have a limited version."
pretty
No
much.
one knows
Yeah.
that. So, I'm glad you're saying
Hmm.
that out loud so people can know, like, "Hey, if you can afford a desktop, if you can afford, the right type of not gaming chip, video card or et cetera, to make sure your computer can run." Like, I think we've forgotten because how powerful computers are, how much it
Hmm.
takes to run a computer. Like Lowell was, he had bought a computer, but he was still building. He was like changing some of the parts in it and like
Yeah.
changing the video card, changing the RAM. Like he was literally taking the computer apart. He bought one, but he added to it because he didn't want to build it on his own. But even still, it's like he had to do all that to optimize that computer. Everyday people ain't
Hmm.
thinking about optimizing a computer. Folks are on their laptop and then they run out of space and then they're like, "What?" No, I'm like, there are computers that have so much power that can do a lot of things,
Yeah.
and those processors matter. Like we have to think about that. And I think because computers have way more room, we forgot about
Hmm.
that. Because I remember when we were younger and you had a computer, it would literally tell you, you can't do this. Right now,
Yeah,
it's
pretty
like
much.
we don't know what it can or can't do, and we don't hit those limits like we used to even start to
Yeah.
work our brain to know that that is a problem and that's something that still happens within computers.
Or even like if you go one step further, like there's a person that left me a comment, and the
Hey,
person said,
person,
um,
shouting you out without shouting you out
yeah, I'm gonna tag him so he sees this.
at
Um,
so and so.
so he kept saying, "Oh, but the AI tools now that are available, you can just get them on the API. They're hosted on the cloud. They're small
Mm,
software. You don't need them." I'm
mhm.
like, you understand that for example, I use the term of Adobe, right?
Yeah,
You understand that in order for me to access the cloud hosted AI tool, that yes, it's small, I still have to open up Photoshop.
yeah,
And
you
on
do.
my computer, it still
Yeah,
has to have enough GPU in order to run it. So it's like you can't always do one without the other, because I think sometimes
yeah.
people forget they're so used to like standalone products that
And the
they're not
quick
thinking
whatever
about.
just happens. Mhm.
Exactly, but they're not thinking like, oh, some tools are used within another tool, and then that
Right.
tool is not going to work without a desktop computer.
Oh yeah,
Especially if you're
that's
trying to
real.
be more of a professional.
Oh yeah,
And just so people know, y'all need to be professional entrepreneurs soon, if
because
these
that's about to be the
jobs get
only
out of
job.
hand and there are no jobs, I'm going to need for you guys to start your own YouTube channel to make
It's gonna
some
be
money.
content creators all over the world, like idiocracy all over again.
Pretty much.
Everybody just creating
Find a
stuff so
different
we all
niche
can
though.
talk to each other.
It's like
Yeah,
don't come in this
niches
niche.
get riches. Yeah, leave this niche alone. Niches get
Yeah.
rich. Leave
Go
this
find
niche
something
alone.
else
I'm
to
gonna get
do.
a
Do
shirt
some
that says
crafts or
that.
something.
Leave my niche
All
alone.
right. Let me stop messing with people. All right.
Sorry,
So
folks. But
another
for real though,
one.
no, but seriously, take a serious moment on that. But seriously though, we are getting to a place where you got to figure out other lenses because technology is moving pretty
Mhm.
quickly. There will be new industries that are opened up, like Marcy is saying around the piece that she was just talking about. But we have to make sure that you are prepared. Always tell folks like find your intersection, and your intersection should include some tech component. Whether you're a teacher, whether you're a librarian, whatever it is that you're doing, you need to figure out how tech works in that space to at least stay relevant in the next 10 years, to be honest, because it's going
Yeah.
to be a very interesting 10. Like, think about it. iPhone came out, what, 2008?
Mhm.
That's nothing. Like, it sounds like a long time ago because it's almost like 15 years, but that was not that long ago. Like, and what has
Yeah.
happened after that? The possibilities are only going to get even crazier with ChatGPT. We saw what happened with Threads. How many users are using this stuff? We're moving the users very quickly, getting folks online. So we need to really think about what that means for jobs and what that means for the future. So please make sure you find your niche. There's riches and niches. Go ahead, Marcel. What's next?
Well, now that you said that, there was an article written that said, I think the AI jobs specifically for women too,
Hmm.
excuse me, not the AI jobs for women, that the
Okay.
business industry would affect women 80%. That
Not
AI would
again.
affect 80%.
I'm
Look,
tired of being on these stat lists. Okay, get women off the stat list. I'm good. I don't need it. But
but
yeah, I read the
I'm like,
article as well.
hey, I know most of the guys are in tech,
Oh yeah, they
but
good.
look, we need a
Help
lot
your
more women
sister,
in
help
tech.
your wife, help your mom, help your auntie. Like a woman somewhere in your life, so make sure they know this. But go ahead, Marcy.
Yeah. So it's important, ladies also pay attention, okay? Or
I know
tell,
y'all
like I
on
say, all the
10% of
guys,
viewership
tech
right now.
bros, tell your
The
ladies.
10% of viewership, please pay attention. Because
All
ladies
right, so
don't
next
listen. So
up,
I need ladies to also listen. Yes, we are probably appealing more to tech bros. Guys, y'all gonna listen to this more often than a woman is. You just are. Because y'all
you
love
guys
this
know
stuff.
you
Y'all
like
love
being
YouTube.
here.
You live here. So it is what it is. But tell seriously, those are things like we're sharing this stuff because AI News of the Week. News should be shared. Don't just keep the news for yourself. Share the YouTube. Tell someone to subscribe to our channel. We're super neutral. We're very logical. We bring facts. So make sure you let women in your life know if you care. If you don't care, also share it.
Yeah. And
What's next on the list?
subscribe to the channels, man. Subscribe to
Subscribe.
the channels.
Sorry, it's late, and
Okay,
I haven't had
and
enough sugar.
one of the kind of weird kind of things. So I was checking out this Wall Street Journal article.
Did
It
you
was with
subscribe?
a.
Did you subscribe? Did you subscribe to the Wall Street Journal?
I ain't
I paid
subscribed,
for it, so
but
I'm wondering if you subscribed or not.
no. Free.
Oh, okay, that's why I was like, did you pay
I
for
have
that?
to
If not,
scroll down
I
before he
paid.
asks
I
me to.
subscribed because I there's too many things I want to read there, so they keep getting me. But go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, they ain't gonna get me unless y'all want to give me a
They
free
get me for
subscription.
that. I got a deal. I think it's 424.
Well, we can
But continue.
share. You can
Yeah,
share
we
with
can
your
see. I'll
subscription
send
with
you the
me.
articles you need. I'll send you the straight up screenshot.
So they were doing an interview with a senior White House aide, right? Trying to find out what is Biden's view on AI. And basically,
What?
let me take a break.
Sorry, the way this started off is gonna go bad.
It's
First of all,
not. It's
senior
not.
White House aide. We don't know what that person's background is. Are they tech? Are they anything? Just some random person. We were like, hey, how's Biden doing with that AI stuff? Oh, continue. I'll let you listen. They need to set those articles up better because trolls are ready. All right. And as a former troll, I was ready. Senior White House aide tells us what Biden thinks
Okay.
about AI. First of all, no comment. Let me be quiet.
I'm trying to be good. I'm not even trying to go super deep on
I'm
it.
not
But
trying to
okay.
be, but I this is an area I need to be good because this is public. Go ahead.
It's
Smile.
not even a long statement. But I was like, with something
But
so deep,
how
this
somebody
is.
else tell somebody else how they feel about something? It's
I
AI.
mean,
He's
I
not
guess
sitting
this
here talking about AI
person.
at the crib. We got wars happening right now. You think he's like, if they ever
Well, he
ask you about
said.
AI, tell them I said.
I think that's how the meeting goes.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sure he was ready for that. That was on top of
Yeah,
his
pretty
list.
much.
All right, go ahead.
So they just thought it feels stupid even to repeat it. This is how dumb this quote
No,
is.
when you started it, I was like, "This is dumb." You said it was dumb, so I went ahead and felt like I could go off your because
It
I'm
is.
reckless.
I'm trying to be
I was like, "This
professional
is
about
dumb,"
it.
like it's about to be dumb as hell. But go ahead, I'm gonna listen. I'm not gonna
It's
say anything.
wonder and worry. It's,
Next topic, please.
and then the follow up was, yeah,
They were
they
ready for
plan
that
on
too.
acting sooner than later. That
Too
is
late.
the state.
Too late. Let me tell you
That
what
is
was
the
too late.
state
Too
that we're
late.
in.
Too late. Too late. The fact that even like in
Bring
my
it home a
side
little
life,
bit.
huh?
Bring
How do you
it
bring it
home a
home?
little bit. Take it
Well,
up
I'll
a
bring it
notch a
home. No, I'm
tiny
gonna bring it home
bit.
now. This time I'm gonna bring it home, and it's not gonna go home. It's gonna go right back out to space. But no, but one of the things that even so, I'm a voice of an AI that's uses and now it uses for, but I trained my voice on an AI a couple of years ago. The AI is called Clara, and she's part of a group called Create Labs, and she's an AI or whatever that goes around and teaching kids about AI. They've been doing it for a few years. They asked me to train my voice on her,
Mm-hmm.
so I thought it was really cool. And at the time, I think when I first trained my voice on her, it was like 4 hours of tape and this was a couple years ago. Now I think they trained her on like 7 minutes of my podcast, which was way quicker. But even back then, she was using GPT-3 because OpenAI was allowing certain people to get access to it,
Yeah.
and they were using it and like sharing it out there. So for me, when it came public for folks, I'm like, but this thing has been hanging out, literally doing things and like interacting for some time. So I'm not joking when I say too late. I really mean like, hey, too late. And even if any of y'all watched a congressional hearing, some of y'all may care about that. I do personally. So I watched it and I was in shock at the questions that were coming up. Like, questions were not, they were like questions you should never ask. So when you say wonder and wow or whatever the heck you just said, and we're going to do
Wonder
something
and
soon.
worry.
Wonder and worry. Okay, wonder and worry, and we're going to do something soon. My response is too late, because even after that, I haven't seen any meaningful. Some folks are talking about it, and I know in the past some people have tried to do some legislation on it. I haven't seen anything meaningful coming after that. In my mind, I would have been like, hey, we probably need to think about this differently. China did
Mm-hmm.
something. Why aren't we? So I'm like, that to me is the wrong statement for today. But I'll leave it at that and keep it
And
calm
I
and
will say,
keep it cool.
scientific advisors, where are you? Okay.
That's what. Yes,
We
that's what I
need,
thought you were gonna say. Was saying that that was a punchline for a that was a punchline, and that's cool. But I would want a scientific advisor or they have a technology a whole group that focus on technology AI. They brought on, they created new groups that focus on AI and government in the feds. So there's a lot of people
mm-hmm.
that could have been the spokesperson. I just think they
Yeah.
picked the wrong person, and that's fine. Nothing against the person. I'm all about folks being able to speak up, but I think we should probably have someone else speaking about this, such a real topic at this point in time. That's just me.
And it's like, how do, let me put my words kindly and
Okay.
not go over
I'll
the
keep it
top.
rough. You keep it kind. Sorry.
I need a moment.
I can't control myself. You can't have me out here on these
So,
YouTube streets.
because it's like, once these programs are already implemented,
Yeah.
corporate level,
Mhm.
if you guys even understand what Llama 2 is doing with Meta and Microsoft and Azure, am I saying that word correctly? Because I always get it
Azure,
wrong.
it's okay. It's okay.
Azure,
I'm gonna correct you every
whatever.
time.
Every time, whatever. Who cares about Azure? Well, I care. Don't get.
I care too.
I was like, let me catch myself. I care
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Don't
yeah,
bump
yeah,
my
yeah.
membership.
It's okay. I'm like,
But
we need all of our access.
I was like, we all need it. I'm
Yeah,
not
we
trying to
do.
be
Straight up,
banned.
because they're
But
everywhere, and they do a pretty good job.
um, but it's like, once they're already implemented in the business world,
So what if I
how
don't
are
know what
those
you're talking about?
policies going to catch up?
No, let rewind a bit. So I know what you're talking about, but can you like explain to the audience what do you mean by what are they doing with Llama 2, Facebook, Meta, Microsoft? What are they all doing right now? Like what's happening? What as it relates to Llama 2? Can you speak like at a even level, like
Well,
what's going on there?
I don't
Even
even know.
level.
Okay, even level. All right. So basically, one of the most important parts of Llama 2 is the research models, right? With ChatGPT, I'm a research scientist.
Yep. We
So,
should have actually said that at the beginning of this, but
yeah. And
got it.
Amber works in
Yeah, I
the
work in data,
government.
performance management, and in government in particular. So I'm more on the
Yeah,
government side of this world.
right. So, that's the beautiful thing about Llama 2 is with the ability to, as they're trying to focus on research, on accuracy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because ChatGPT is like, oh, you want references? I'm about to
I
give you some
got
that
you,
I made up.
son. I'm a
Oh, you
reference
want
A B
authors?
C D
I
E F
just created
G,
22
Anderson and
people.
Sound. Yep, literally.
Exactly. So the fact that all of these language models are now moving towards the university level and corporate level, I
Hmm.
don't think people realize the importance
Well,
of
let's break
that.
that down. What do you say when you mean university level? Meaning universities and corporate companies are going to be adopting these models, right?
Exactly. Well, not yet, but now they're working on
But
trying to make
they're
it
getting
accurate.
primed to adopt these models at that level, not just
Exactly.
beyond users like you and me and those of y'all who are watching. Make sure you subscribe, who are also now using it. Imagine a corporation that has Microsoft getting access to an AI beyond Copilot, but this other AI, Llama
Hmm.
2. Or imagine government, because government, one of the biggest contractors for government is Microsoft, right? in the work that they do, or AWS and their big government contractors, or these big companies that are working in these other places. Now these companies will have access to these models and universities in a different way, beyond them just saying, hey, I'm on ChatGPT using this generative AI.
Yeah. And the connection to Azure is that Azure has 722 million members
Yeah.
with the businesses, people.
Yeah.
So you can imagine if they're going to start maybe connecting with all of these AI softwares, how is the laws? That's not even
We
proper
need
grammar.
laws
That's
yesterday.
stunned I am. How are the laws, policies, and regulations going to uh, match up to 722 million people when they're
Right.
already running their business on it? It's
Yeah.
the people are going to be
That's
like,
why I said
we've been
earlier.
using this for 2 years.
Yeah. And that's why I said
Hard.
earlier, we're too late. We're just too late. Granted, we should still lawmakers used to still act if you happen to be the 0.0001% of people who listen to this.
Yeah.
Lawmakers should still act and make sure that we're using AI in a helpful way, especially when it's at the corporate level and beyond the individual level or university level, because that's a totally different game. But
Yeah.
again, like you said, if all of a sudden 700 million people are now using this tool, you're gone. Like the moment they use it,
Yeah.
it's very hard to pull that back.
Exactly. And then
Like,
to
think
kind
about it.
of,
It's like how they try to ban TikTok. And it's like, oh, okay. After everyone had downloaded it. No, the best thing
yeah.
would have probably been to do is say, hey, Apple US, you don't offer TikTok in the US. And granted, I don't think you should
Yeah.
ban TikTok, but I'm saying if you want to do it, you got to do it before mass adoption because it's hard to pull that stuff back.
Yeah. It's a lot. Okay, and then to kind of bring it home and connect it to our last topic. So
Mm-hmm.
today I saw that Johns Hopkins University,
Go
which made me
JHU,
so
my former
happy.
employer.
So shout out to them.
Shout out
It looks
JHU.
like they just, what'd you say?
I said, shout out JHU.
Yes, yes. And if y'all want to hire somebody else, you can hire me. I am looking for a
Shout out.
teaching position.
Look, shout out looking for a job. Shout out open for opportunity.
So they hired, it looks like they hired 110 professors, um,
That's a
because they're
lot.
focusing on creating the data science and
Mm,
translation institute. I'm not sure about that part, but we'll have to look it up.
okay.
But but it's focused on developing AI. So the fact that now we're going to see universities really putting forth the
Oh
funding
yeah.
and the effort towards advancing education for
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
that is massive
Mhm.
because 110 professors, that is a
That's
lot.
wild.
Okay, that's huge.
That's
Um,
wild. I was telling you
yeah.
before we started, I had interviewed Dr. Chapella, he's
Hmm.
an AI researcher. He's been researching AI for ridiculous amount of years, decades. Like he always jokes and says, everyone's so scared of AI, but AI is on Social Security because it's been around that long. Like it could get a Social Security card in the US. I
Yeah.
love the way he talks about it. But he wrote the book, Can We Trust AI? But he's a
Hmm.
professor at JHU, but he does AI research, but in the engineering department. So
Hmm.
I'm interested to see if he's going to be involved in this new program or hopefully it's a center or whatever, or a department or a school
Yeah.
there. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with that. But that's really exciting because I think
Yeah.
before they were hanging out in the engineering department.
Yeah, I think this says the Whiting School of
Yep,
Engineering.
Whiting School of Engineering. That's where they were
Yeah,
hanging
so I
out. And
think
in my
that's gonna
book,
be
in my book, the children's book I have the Whiting
yeah.
School in there as that's the school that she's right in front of.
Oh, do
Yeah.
you have your book with you to show
I
everybody?
sure do. Since y'all are here, and it's our podcast, but I wrote a book called AI Meets AI. It's for kids, so ages 4 to 8. But I'm gonna pull up the picture of the Whiting School. It's based on an AI that got its GPS mangled coming from JHU, but I do show the Whiting School of Engineering. My illustrator did an amazing job of that. That is the Whiting School
Mm.
of Engineering. So if you ever go on campus, that's where it is. And I'm so excited if that's where the new AI school is. That's where Dr. Chappelle, I think he's also based in that school, but it's literally a few minutes from my house. So that's
And
really,
let
really
the
cool.
people
And
know where they can buy that book.
oh, you can buy it on Amazon. We will also drop it in the notes below. So don't you
Yeah.
worry. And this will also be a podcast. So podcast listeners is in the show notes.
Yeah, y'all go get my
Yay,
girl's book,
yay.
man, because it's amazing. It's a
But
great
yeah, it's
book.
on Amazon, or you can go to my
Yeah.
website, AIDigitales.com. That's AIDIGITALES.com. I sound like a radio producer. Drink
No,
some
that's
water.
dope though. All
Thank you.
right,
Thank
so
you.
that kind of covers all the topics for the week. Do you have any other topics that you want to talk about?
No, I think that I say no, and then I think that I think that I'm really excited about this partnership and what this looks like. I'm really excited about where we go from here. So if y'all have ideas for the go-to girls for AI, please make sure you drop it in the comments. Let us know. Hit us up on our respective pages. Follow MarcyNuelle. Also follow AI Decodes the System. I also podcast and talk about these topics. I'm going to be making sure I do that even more. So just make sure you follow us. We love this stuff. Marcel's been researching this stuff since I've known her when we were kids, and I'm like a person I love this stuff and investigate this stuff. I'm more on the data side, but this is a world we both love. So we're hoping that y'all enjoyed it, and we're hoping that you come back. So I
Yep.
have none, Marcy, unless you have anything you want to share.
No, I mean, I just started my channel. So, on my channel, I try to do a lot of tech tutorials, design tutorials,
Oh yeah.
of course, like marketing and business, because I really want to share that information with people. So, even
Mm-hmm.
if it's not about AI, you want to learn about marketing and advertising,
Oh
you
yeah.
can ask me about that too. And like what kind of AI tools, like I made a few videos about AI tools that people can use for their business. So, it's kind of, I
Mm-hmm.
want to bring everything together so that
I
people
like it.
can learn how to do things for themselves,
Yeah.
and really become like better entrepreneurs and see how tech can actually help you. Even if you like sell candles, it's like, hey,
Oh
you can
yeah.
use an
Heck
AI
yeah.
tool to help you create ads and graphics to
Yep.
make your business better, and automate
I
it. So
agree.
you don't feel like you have to have a team to have
Mm-hmm.
a really strong business running it by yourself.
You can
So
be a hell of a
um
solopreneur. So yeah, that works.
exactly. So yeah, so it's the channel is gonna grow. I'm gonna add a lot more. I have a lot of like
Oh, no.
Adobe
I'm
tutorials
not
right
worried about
now.
you. This woman, because she's not saying, because y'all don't know, she has so many channels that are like the no face channels that have millions and millions of views. So now she's like finally showing her face. And I'm so excited that she's showing her face and the mastermind behind a lot of these channels that many of you have watched and you don't even know you're watching them, from this lady right here. And she's worked with so many other people to do that. So please make sure you follow her. She just started her face channel, so make sure you check her out. She's been literally studying this stuff for so long. I remember back in the day, I'm gonna just share real quick. Y'all can keep listening because y'all know you want to hear what I'm about to say. But back in the day when we were kids, so if you, some of y'all may be too young, but if you were born in the 80s or grew up in the 90s, you knew something called MySpace. So she was one of the folks that literally started like coding in MySpace back in the day, doing the website layouts, because we used to have to buy templates and buy layouts. So she started doing that like way back then and like built a career around like internet and being an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, and has been able to literally work for herself her whole entire career, and has like done billions of ads. Like, I'm not joking, billions with a B. So I need y'all to understand this girl knows what she's talking about. I'm here because I like to talk, and I love this topic. So make sure you listen. I kind of know what I'm talking about most of the time. But yeah, so we're super excited.
Don't let
Thank
her
y'all
lie
for
to
joining
y'all.
us. Huh? I know they'll figure it
I
out
said
later.
don't lie to these people. She's beyond.
I might,
Oh, you
but
guys will
look,
see.
you will see. But no, stay tuned. We will try to keep it as level as possible. There are times when we'll turn the pressure on a little bit, but make sure you stay
Can't
tuned.
promise that.
We can't promise, you ain't never lie. But make sure you stay tuned for your AI news of the week. And we are your AI go-to girls. So check us out. Also, Tech Bros, stay here. You know you like it here. All right, bye, y'all.